Greetings, Carl.
Michael Kitces, so fun to talk to you today.
I'm excited to talk to you today.
Let me ask you something. How are you feeling?
How am I feeling?
Yeah.
Honestly, like I'm feeling a little bit tired. This is as of our recording, we're still end of spring, beginning of summer, which for me is like the tail end of spring conference season when we have like a whole slew of industry events one week after another. And so I've been road warrioring for the past 5 weeks or so and still have two left before
Oh,
I finally get to hang out at home and not go to an airport for a month, which I'm really excited about. So
nice.
feeling a little bit drained right now with all the
Yeah.
stuff going on.
Yeah.
Overall work-life balance is actually pretty good on the whole, but busy season is still busy. It makes the light season more appreciated. Busy season's still busy. It's a little tiring.
Yeah. How does that, I actually quite curious now. When you feel tired, what does that actually feel like?
What does it
Like
feel like?
where in your body, like what happens? Like, describe
Oh,
feeling tired.
feeling tired. I think it's for me, it starts with like my brain just doesn't want to think anymore. Like I would like
Mm,
to
mm,
sit down and be able to do something very mindless that I do not need to exert any like particular brain energy towards. Maybe it's playing a light video game, it's watching a show with the kids that does not require me to think terribly much. Like I just
yeah.
need to do something where I can mostly turn the brain off because the brain's just tired.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. Thanks for allowing me to
Yeah.
ask. Because what I want to talk about, I
Say,
think,
where are we going with this,
yeah,
Carl?
yeah, yeah. I just had this really interesting experience, and it goes along with your dollar symbol up there that you can just see the bottom of.
Yes.
Um, I've been as part of the book tour traveling around asking people about the first feeling that comes up when they see a dollar sign, and
Right.
it's led to all these discussions. And at FPA events particularly, it's always fun. And by the way, financial planners are not any better or worse than this. It's actually all of us humans. It's just a very concentrated sample size of sometimes it's really hard for us to figure out what it means to feel something,
Uh-huh.
right? And that's led me on this down this rabbit hole around like, but I've noticed I've got other people in my life that I'll say like, how did you make that really big important decision? Like, how did you decide between that and that? And it was like big. Like, should I take that job? Should I marry that person? Should I move to this city?
Yeah.
Like big decisions. And I keep hearing this thing of like, God, I just felt my way through it, or it
Mm.
felt right, or now and then I would dig a little bit more and realize there was a bunch of analysis that went on first. A
Okay.
whole a whole bunch. Like in at my presentations now, we sort of make fun of you a little bit by turning you into a verb. So we like there people have kisses it to death.
Okay. Oh, that's the verb. You kits this something to death with clearly deep, high quality analysis.
That's exactly right. Deep, high quality analysis. That's what kitsis means. So you kitsis it. At the end of that, you're still sort of left with a little pile of like maybe you've narrowed it down to two, but
Yep.
the two are very like take the job or don't,
Yep. Yep.
like marry the person or don't, you move to a city or don't. Like those are big decisions, and you're still not sure
Hmm.
because there's this weird thing in life called uncertainty, right? Like there's no way to know. And when we get to that spot in that little moment after all the analysis is done, we often and we don't know that we're doing this and we don't acknowledge it and we give it short shrift like we just like we downplay it, but we often feel our way into it. So I've been thinking about this like is there a world in which feelings are data? And I
Well,
got a
that's
bunch
what
of
you're baking up to. You're trying to make feelings into data for me. I
I'm
appreciate
trying I've got a
this.
bunch of claims to try and convince you
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm right, but I want to have the argument because
Okay.
that's so fun. An argument meaning like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
talk about it. So what comes up as soon as I like that whole thing of I've kissed it to death. I got this last thing, and then you say like, "Oh, gut feel," or "It felt right," or "I felt my way through it," or I just knew. How about that? I just knew.
Yeah. So this is actually stirring up some, I guess, resonance to me, almost very literally on the feelings are data part. But I come to it from, I guess, the I don't know, the opposite end of the gut feeling my way to the conclusion. So when I reflect back on, I think, like, a number of big, probably for me, like, business and career decisions, just I've done a bunch of things and I have to reinvent myself every 3 years out of sheer compulsion. So I've had like a number of different business crossroads
Yeah.
over the years of, do this or pursue that or merge here or exit there, or all the different things that crop up. And often when I'm going through one of those, you know, I'll Kitces it, because that's clearly what I do.
If you don't, who would?
Yeah. Um, but here's what I'll say. I'll call it, like, I'll get to a preliminary decision and say, okay, now let me sit with this for
Hmm.
usually like a day.
Sit with it.
It's some version of I'm trying to give myself space to sleep on it,
Hmm.
because what I found, and like
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
wish I could get back to whenever this happened the first time, and I don't know where it originated. It's like I'd love to have the great story, and I can't summon it on the spot. But here's what I found. I do my first round of evaluating the decision, right? You analyze it, you make your pros and cons columns, whatever your thing is.
Hmm.
And then I take it and I'll sit on it for, sleep on it for a night. And when I wake up in the morning and I reflect on it, one of two things happens. I wake up in the morning, reflect on it, and I'm like, I am feeling really good about this. Like, it's a go. Or I wake up and there's some, proverbial or actual, like, knot in my stomach. Something feels wrong. And so what's evolved for me over the years, it used to just be some version of, all right, well, it feels wrong. Maybe that means it's not right, and I'm supposed to trust my gut, and so I'm gonna, change my mind or whatever the thing is. But now, I mean, I'm trying to, like, articulate my actual big decision process for making big decisions. If I wake up the next morning and I've got some version of that negative feeling, I literally go hunt at it like a data point. Because I think this is where I liked your feelings are data. Um, I start hunting for it like a data point. What's bothering me or holding me back that this isn't actually
Yeah.
feeling good? Like, my
Yeah.
right, my body, my gut is surfacing some additional knowledge or intuition or data point that I didn't realize I needed to be factoring in the way that I have. And I'm trying to think over the years, like, there was an opportunity that would have required me to do massive amounts of travel, even more than I've done historically. And it was a really cool offer and opportunity. And I woke up the next morning and it felt really bad in the pit of my stomach. And in trying to get to what I realized was, oh, I'm already starting to grieve how much I'm going to be away from the kids and not get to do some of the things I like doing from the kids. I guess I actually needed to wait that much more than I did. I mean, I was trying to give a thought to work life balance and family versus opportunity, but waking up and feeling so bad was like, okay,
Hmm.
apparently I did not give enough consideration to how much this was going to bother me on the family side. Now I need to reassess the decision, and I'm realizing it's not a fit. I had another one at one point of an M&A opportunity and things felt really good. It seemed really good on paper. And I woke up the next morning and it's not feeling good. And eventually trying to figure out why it didn't feel good, it came down to there's actually some culture fit issues that just I don't think I'm really going to fit into their culture. And the opportunity seems so cool and great that I was trying to push that down because cool opportunity and numbers and opportunity and all the great stuff, and feeling the feels as data kind of literally for me was a reflection of okay, but I think there's some important parts of this that my brain has been ignoring and my gut won't allow me to ignore. I think I need to summon this back up.
Uh, all I really need to say at this point is amen. Like it's so good. That's so good. I just want to do one thing. Like I
Yeah,
want to maybe have you unpack one thing and then I'll give you a couple of just like claims. I've got 12 of them. I'll just grab two or three and we'll just talk about them because um but before I do, will you describe for us, and I'm going to push you a little bit on it. Like describe for us, you use the words feels wrong
yeah.
or felt wrong. I made a decision. I woke up in
It's
the morning and it feels wrong. What is describe that?
I mean, very literally I mean, the proverbial gut feeling, like very
Like if you were
literally.
to point to it, it is actually in the gut.
Yes, yes. If I were to put it is absolutely like literally physiologically in the gut. Like
And how would
my
you describe that to somebody who's never felt it?
stomach, like stomach felt churning or cramped or
Would you go as far as
grumbly.
butterflies?
Um,
Like unsettled?
yeah, I mean, unsettled. I know my brain at least associates butterflies in the stomach with like the positive, like a
Like stage
positive,
fright or
like
something.
you know,
Yeah.
the butterflies fluttered in my stomach because I just saw the love of my life kind of version.
Ah,
And like
right. Okay.
this is like the
Good
bad version of
clarification.
butterflies, like angry gnomes stomping, not butterflies flapping. Uh
There we
uh
go. Angry. That's really good. Angry
like
gnomes,
some like angry gnomes pounding from the inside saying like
but subtle
you're forgetting something, you're missing something.
or not subtle.
Usually not. So I've had, um, its presence was not subtle. Figuring out what to do with it was more subtle. Or that my
Which is when
what
you go on the hunt for the data, like that thing.
right, like
Yep.
what I realized over the years of a various shares of good and bad decisions and in retrospect. And I mean I've for anyone who listens to our financial advisor success podcast, you know, we have our fair share of people who had some major decision they made that didn't work out. In the advisor context, it's often like it's a disastrous hire or it's a disastrous partnership or merger is like the most too common that I hear. And one of the questions I love to ask in those instances is like, you know, in retrospect, could you have
Yeah.
seen it coming?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
except like the one time it was just completely legit like con man
Yeah.
fraud,
Yeah.
everyone says oh yeah.
I just knew it. I knew. I wish I had
there
trusted
were
myself.
I what I hear is some version of there were signs, but I didn't ignore, I ignored them, or there were
I didn't
signs
want to see them.
but I didn't go deep enough. Yeah, I mean I think it's that, I think
Yeah.
it's there were signs, but I didn't want to see them because, you know, reasons, growth, opportunity, money,
All the
things
things.
that tend to come, particularly in those types of like partnership, merger, or acquisition situations where I hear a lot
So
of
good.
gone south after the fact stories, right? Many motivated reasons to ignore
Feeling. Yeah.
that
That's
feeling.
right. That's right.
And I found as I went through my share of them to like first I went through my share of them to get to I should not have ignored that feeling.
Yeah.
But then there was a second round for me of um but what the heck was the feeling? Because
Yeah.
the feeling doesn't bring words. It just literally makes my stomach hurt and feel all knotted up because, you know, the angry gnomes are pounding. uh trying to figure out what the thing is that's making it not feel good and surfacing that, I found is actually what was a difficult skill set to develop and one that has become extremely helpful now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Because
think
now
we
I'll
need
push it to try to get to a decision and then say now I'm going to sleep on it. If I wake up and the gnomes are pounding, then I can go hunt for what my body realized I missed.
if we there it would be incredibly valuable to talk about how you trained and practiced that, and maybe we can do that in a let's just see if we have time. If not, we'll do it in another
Yeah,
episode because I think because here's the I want to make a few claims because here's why this
sure.
matters. I would just submit to you that the most important decisions you make personally, but also the most important thing you could do for clients is to help them get clear about this because it turns out almost all your important decisions at the end are made. So here's one of the claims. Feelings are a legitimate form of data in human decision making, especially under uncertainty. And because financial planning is almost always decision making under uncertainty, feelings are not peripheral to the work, they are central. And I'm actually trying to make the claim that for me, the claim goes really far, which is feelings are more important. But let's just stick, because I know that might cause too many problems. Let's just stick with
Yeah,
at least,
don't push your case here, Carl. You're
yes,
doing well already.
at least they should be given equal weight. And right now
I
they're given zero weight by most of us in like the planning process.
so so look from my end. So I guess it's interesting. I still even a feelings discussion. I have to come to it from logical brain. Like logical brain, like me who likes to read a lot of stuff about neuroscience and brain science is look. There's a lot of really interesting research out there that intuition, gut feelings, our brain's ability to like make remarkable fast slice evaluations that turn out to be disturbingly accurate just like is a thing for reasons that we still don't fully understand
Right, right.
from the perspective of brain science, but that like intuition evaluations are remarkably strong and good, and because they occur subconsciously, they're not usually expressed verbally through logic brain. They're expressed through feelings and
Feelings.
body expression, which is where like gut feelings come from.
Yeah.
And so in like in a very literal feelings are data. I've gotten intrigued by this because I literally now, if I have a decision to make, I'm trying to set up a situation where gut feeling will weigh in on this decision and either give it a thumbs up or give me an indicator that there's data I missed.
So good. Yeah, like just even learning what does a yes feel like and what does a no feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like angry gnomes is going to be great. That's we're going to have Kitces t-shirts that have angry gnomes on them. But I
As
do
long as the
yes, of
gnomes have
course,
to either
whatever. There'll
be
be blue
blue
Smurfs. There'll be
or
Smurfs. It's fine. Angry blue
thank you,
Smurfs.
thank you.
But for me it often feels like just a puzzle piece that won't fit.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last piece, like it won't fit or snap. Like it fit right. Like it's much more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's almost, I mean, sometimes it's blinking red lights, but most of the time it's just the same feeling I would have of like it feels forced. The puzzle piece isn't. And if I look back, I'm like, oh man, I've been feeling that since the very first time this
Yeah.
idea even surfaced.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me just you mentioned something in the body. Here's an interesting one of the 12 claims I worked on. I've got this position paper I've written about this stuff because I'm actually working on it as a like small book. Um, and one of them was this: the body often registers relevance before conscious explanation.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you were saying is like it's sub language, it's sub thought, it's the body
Yeah.
can tell you something
The,
before the brain can catch up.
yeah, the body spotted there was a culture fit problem on our deal before I could even articulate there was a culture fit problem in our deal.
So, I mean, okay, that's just fascinating.
Yeah.
Let me give you another one. Feelings are embodied early stage. This goes on with what we just said. Often pre-verbal information about what matters, what feels safe, what feels threatening, what violates a value, what would create relief, what deserves further attention. In financial planning, this matters because many important decisions are not solved by information alone. They're made in conditions of uncertainty, ambiguity, trade-off, identity, family history, fear, hope, and meaning. A spreadsheet can tell us what might work, but the body will often tell us what matters. How do you respond to that?
A spread I'm kind of clicking to the last part. A spreadsheet might tell us what was it, what's
What
possible,
might work?
what might work.
The body
Let's
will often tell it often, and this is the kind of key is like
often.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
often, right? Will tell us what matters.
Yeah, I again in my I don't know, in my feelings are data lens, like right, I almost everything we do and talk about in financial planning is some version of trade-offs,
Right?
right? It's
Like no pure right answer.
yeah, right. It's save for the present versus save for the enjoying the present versus enjoy in the future. It's see the kids through college versus how I'm saving for my retirement. Right, just like there's a never ending series of trade offs because literally we're managing a scarce resource, so there has to be a trade off. A yes to one thing is a no to something else, and so I mean, to me, any version of financial planning is sort of two elements where we're trying to analyze what happens with the current path or if we do something else, right? What if scenarios and the like. And then we're trying to make some value decision about which one of those is actually better for us, given our circumstances and our preferences, which is all the my economist friends will note we can totally model quantitatively with a utility function. It's just no human being knows how to express their actual utility function
Right,
in
right.
quantitative terms that you can plug into a formula. So instead we're like vaguely feeling around in the dark, trying to
Feeling
figure
around
out
the
how to
dark.
weigh these trade-off decisions. And to me, what sticks in that, I mean, I guess from your quote, I don't really see them as like an either or where we're weighing on what
That's
the
right.
analysis says versus what the feelings say. The feelings are just one of the inputs when you're trying to make
That's
the
right.
value decision of like, okay, but am I going path A or path B?
That's
Am I
right.
going to
That's
choose the
right.
what if scenario or not? I
That's
can't
right.
make that
So
choice
good.
without, and there's not one. I mean, sometimes there literally is just like a mathematically, this tax strategy will be better than not doing this tax strategy. But when you get to the real financial planning choices, which are choices, it's not a quantitative right answer. It's a values trade-off answer. And
That's
so
right.
anything that gives you input on the trade-off is probably an helpful input.
Yeah, it's just super important. And here's the I'm going to just give you two more and then we'll kind of like I want to talk about practical bits for just a
Yeah. Yeah.
minute. Like without feeling thinking gets worse. That's one of the claims. Good thinking is not emotionless thinking. Good thinking includes well interpreted emotional information, right? And then here's feelings function as information. Feelings are a sort of information when making judgments.
Yeah.
Should we listen to feelings or ignore them? That's not the question. The question is, what is this feeling information about? Which is kind of what you were saying on
Yes.
your like hunt.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, why is this bothering me? Like, why? I'm feeling some hesitation for this decision. Let's pause for a moment here. Why am I like, why does it not feel good? Why is the gnome poking right
That's right. The
now?
surf,
Like,
the Smurf, the Smurf.
it's just
Yeah,
like that one long finger is like
that's right.
poking inside the stomach. Like,
This
like
is
why is
another.
the why is the gnome poking? But then that's what takes me down the rabbit trail of really just trying to, I don't know, sit down, or I usually, I mean, very real, like I'll take a walk,
Yeah, yeah.
and get fresh air, and just like what is bothering me about this? Like there's
So,
something
so
there, and if
good.
I can pause enough and focus on that, usually I can get whatever the thing is to surface from unconscious to conscious. Like if I
Yeah.
dwell on it enough, it'll, or whatever it, the eventually the mind surfaces the thing. But I have to create some space for it, which starts with acknowledging and holding space for the feeling. Okay, I woke up this morning, it's not feeling good. Like something's not right.
So good. The feelings might be about the decision. I thought this was I worked on this quite a bit. The feelings might be about the decision, but it might also be about hunger, fatigue, shame, social comparison, old family stories, recent market news, or fear of disappointing someone. So the skill is not necessarily trust your feelings, which you've been pointing at. The skill is interrogate your feelings. And
It
like,
sounds more aggressive, but yeah,
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 yeah, try to I mean, we could say
yes,
try to understand them. Like pay attention to them, include them in the analysis. Like it's not necessarily trust them.
yeah.
It's like say, "Oh, interesting. What's that all about?"
Well, because I guess because the distinction for me, I mean, look, sometimes,
Sometimes
well,
you're
I mean,
just hungry.
usually the good feeling means yes. Sometimes the bad feeling means no. Sometimes the bad feeling means there's just some issue or part of this that I had not fully addressed or solved for that I just need to bring back to the conversation.
Right.
I think that's why I'm like, if the gut is yes, I'm okay to go with yes. If the gut is no, I'm not necessarily a no.
You
It's
just
probably a fairly likely no, but I
further consideration.
often it's a deal killer thing, but maybe it's a solvable thing, which you're right. I guess I wouldn't use the word interrogates, but
Sure.
yes, then I'm like,
Explore.
I'm interrogating, I'm exploring for like, what's the thing, and is it really a deal killer, or is it something that could be solved, or is it something else entirely that's just running in parallel?
Yeah, this let's just as we wrap up, let's talk about like this is like goosebump territory for me. I get so excited about this idea. And here's the reason I feel so strongly about it is because it turns out we humans are not very good at this.
Mm-hmm.
If feelings are that important, and I think getting increasingly important, I think
Yeah.
as uncertainty ramps up, feelings actually get more important.
Mm-hmm.
And being practiced
Yeah.
at sorting out what it feels like. And what I'm finding from my book tour is like I literally I had a conversation on book tour with somebody who I'm just gonna call Jimmy. It's definitely not his name. Jimmy was literally like, I don't know what you're talking. I don't even know. I was like, what does it feel like when a decision? He was like, I had a bunch of anxiety around the decision. And I was like, okay, great. How did you know that? He's
Okay.
like, I was just anxiety. Like, what did it feel like? Is I can't even describe. I don't even. I was like, where in your body? He's like, I can't. And I was like,
Interesting.
I know. I'm just saying, and
Yeah.
I'm picking on what I call him Jimmy. I'm picking on Jimmy because we're all Jimmy,
Yeah.
and I think our ability to do that ourselves will translate in our ability to help clients do it. And so let's just practically for a minute. Let's just do like 2 minutes on how do you see this? Like imagining a client who's like, you know, and you even said a couple of these, like all the numbers were good. You know, all the things said that this was a it looked good on you used the word, it looked good on paper,
Mm-hmm.
but I made a different decision. Like how do
Yeah.
where does that show up with clients? How do we get better at it? How did you get better at it?
Um, the place it shifted to me, and I mean, frankly, I find this can crop up anywhere from clients to teammates to leadership with your team to direct reports if you're a management a role. There is actually a language shift that, I mean, I think I've really just started to bring in over the past year or few in my conversations that, um if we're talking about a new plan, a new project, right, a what if scenario with the client, right. I would ask something like, like, so here's option B. What do you think of that option? Like, how does that seem to you? And have whatever conversation ensues. And the language shift for me is I've actually gotten much more much more intentional to ask or say, how does, like, here's the option, or here's the new thing. How does that feel to you?
So good. Yeah.
And just using the word feel, because
Yep.
sometimes, at least more often, if we create a safe space for it, I mean, someone will say, I don't know. It doesn't feel great. I'm feeling concerned. I'm not feeling good. Like, if there's a negative feeling, like a negative feeling can get espoused if you created a space for it and used the word, right? How's it feel to you? Not great. Can you tell me more about that? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. It just doesn't feel great. I'm like, cool. Can we just hang out here for a moment and try to get to
What if
what
we sleep on it?
what
What if we,
what
yeah,
that is? I'm not even in the
yeah,
sleep on phase. I'm in, like, in real
yeah,
time. You're already
yeah,
expressing something doesn't feel right.
yeah.
So I'm not blowing off or discounting that. I'm like, I actually want to elicit that because your gut is weighing in with some data that your brain hasn't caught up on yet. So can we actually now hang out for a moment?
So
Like,
good.
what doesn't feel good? Like, tell me more about that. What feels off?
Can we, I think it would be really good to not overcomplicate this and just end right there. Like, I think this, to me, that's a very practical thing that would be, I would love to hear from any of our listeners. If
Yeah.
you just go try this next time, just as you present options, trade-offs, just try, here's the option. And you don't need, look, I was expecting you to say that before, like you were like, here's option A, and I thought the words that were going to come out of your mouth were, has it, I think we probably do this more than we think we do because it's just, it's like a normal bit of
Yeah,
language. We just don't mean it.
I I realize, like, I don't know why or where I got this. I would often ask, how does that seem?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what book or whatever it is that I read when I was young that, like, clicked
Right,
that
right,
particular
right.
phrase, but what do you think and how does that seem? Were words that I realized I used a lot. They were pattern words for me. And I've been trying to force myself to start asking, how does that feel?
Try that at home. Like next time you have a client meeting and you've got options, it could even be like prospect meeting. Hey, should we meet again? How does that feel? But I love the idea of like we're trying to make a decision. There's a spreadsheet. We've talked about it and we say, hey, what do you think? How does that feel?
Mhm.
And just listen to that. Like that does not feel odd to me though. That doesn't feel, I don't think a client would be like, what do you mean? How does it feel? Like, I just think if you were
Yeah,
casual
in the
about
moment. I know
it,
it works fine, but I mean, I think it's why I liked this theme as you kicked it off, because I don't set that up because I'm trying to get a gut feeling thumbs up, thumbs down decision. I say it because if you say it doesn't feel good, I want to know why, because
yeah,
that's the actual conversation. Like,
right.
there's some other factor in the room that's weighing on the decision that we haven't voiced yet. Ostensibly, because if you told me I really hate blank, I wouldn't have presented this as an option. So
Yeah,
if you're feeling not good, there's some other input to this process that you didn't actually articulate. Like, it's cool.
yeah,
I'm not gonna take it personally. As we've done on prior episodes, I'm now basically convinced, like, all clients lie about their goals when they first tell me, not because they're trying to be deceptive, because they don't know themselves fully
yeah,
yet. So I
yeah,
never believe them. But in that same vein, like, I'm hunting for more inputs. I'm hunting for more data that wasn't brought originally. And how does that feel to you? I find surfaces that conversation more, because if there's something we didn't include, there's a negative feeling in response to the feeling question, and we can hang out there for a bit and try to unpack, like, well, what doesn't feel good, what seems off, right? Whatever words they use, trying to reflect
yeah,
that back.
yeah. And
Tell me more
even,
about
and again, I really don't like, but even like, oh, it doesn't feel good. Like I'm just like, I'm a nutcase for this kind of stuff because I couldn't leave the room without saying like, describe that for me. Like, what does not feel good? And all we're doing there is teaching people to slowly start recognizing
Yeah.
what the body, how the body communicates to them, because it turns out it's different for different people. But let's not overcomplicate. Just go try inserting how does it feel as part of your process and send us an email and send Michael an email and tell us how it goes.
I'll forward them all to Carl.
Michael,
Questions
that
at
was amazing.
kitces.com, and I'll just set up an auto forward to Carl.
That's perfect. That was amazing, Michael. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Carl.
I
Thank
feel
you.
much better.
You feel better. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.